The water cycle is often perceived as a simple circulation of water. However, it can be much more functional and complex in terms of understanding its systematic process. The water cycle is the constant water activity from the atmosphere to Earth's surface, and vice versa. With the help of the sun's heat, the water cycle is made possible. This circulation starts with the evaporation of water into water vapor, wherein the droplets are accumulated, then condenses to form clouds. When molecules of water vapor are heavy enough to fall, precipitation occurs. These molecules become the rain and snow that pour onto lakes, rivers, streams, and other bodies of water and seep into the ground. The water then infiltrates and percolates through the ground. After this, plants take up the groundwater and transpirate the water into the atmosphere.
As nature's most important nutrient, its abundant supply is critical to meet the needs of the ecosystem and community. In many areas, the water supply is gradually being depleted and drained due to overuse, growth in population, pollution, and various developments. These strains have been made worse by the changes in climate that affect the water cycle. The lack of a good water source impacts civilization throughout the years, challenging the economy, natural ecosystem, human health, agriculture, transportation, and many different productions that supports life. Anthropogenic activities. With the gradually growing demands of people, they are forced to consume more natural resources to survive. Since the number of people increases, basic needs such as food and shelter tends to rise as well.
Proceeding with oil spill. One of the anthropogenic activity that affects the water cycle would be the accidental oil spillages. Oil spill may be caused by either bunker operations or during internal transfer. Bunker operation refers to the transferring of oil to a ship wherein a bunker supply ship is positioned along the receiving ship to load the needed oil. However, this is considered a dangerous method because of the high risk it imposes. If people are not too careful, an oil overload in the ship's tank or spillage during the transfer may occur. On the other hand, internal transfer refers to the oil transport through pipes with the purpose of delivering them to refineries or power plants. Although this is considered as an efficient way of transporting oil, it may also be detrimental to the environment. When the pipe is damaged, oil may be leaked and contaminate its environment. Worse, even if people clean the environment thoroughly, there will be remains of the contaminated water and most likely will never disappear. Both situations would cause a decrease in the supply of drinkable water and in some cases, acid rain, which would be harmful for both animals and plants.
According to algae, deforestation is defined as the cutting, clearing, and removal of rainforests with the purpose of human consumption. Usually, this is done to expand agricultural or industrial property to increase productivity. However, this may also be caused by excessive logging, mining, or oil extraction. Deforestation may serve as a solution to the lack of natural resources, but people tend to forget the purpose of rainforests and the importance of taking care of them. If deforestation continues to thrive, our future's water and oxygen supply will surely diminish. There would be less trees to provide the air that we breathe, and our access to clean water would deplete immensely. Why is it important to talk about such activities? Is it only for our benefits, or is there something that we're missing? To answer these, we should understand that we are not the only creatures affected by our actions. There are organisms living in bodies of water and forests that we damage. By disrupting the ecosystems in these areas, species are forced to migrate and adapt to different environments.
With globalization, the transport of plants and animals from one country to another through human intervention has been facilitated. The intentional or unintentional introduction of living organisms for economic and other reasons can have beneficial or adverse impacts. The introduction of invasive species is the second leading cause of loss of biodiversity after habitat destruction. Invasive species are creatures that are not native to a specific area. They cause ecological and environmental damages wherever they go. As there are no predators to hold these organisms in control, they grow uncontrollable in the areas where they are released. As a result, they tend to outmatch native wildlife's natural resources and prey on them, disrupting and damaging the area's biodiversity.
The catfish, also known as janitor fish, were initially introduced for aquariums. However, hasty managing and weak controls enabled them to escape into the wild, along with a slew of other animals and plants. These are just one of the alien species that are invading local waterways, endangering the country's native plants and animals. They also increase rapidly than native species, competing for food and building nests in mud banks, making the water polluted. In addition, some have caused economic losses to fishermen in Laguna de Bay and Lagusan March by lessening their catch with gill nets and fish corrals, while others have damaged the Marikina River embankment with their burrowing habit in building nests. Unfortunately, the janitor fish were unpalatable and unappealing to Filipinos, and they were frequently released back into the waters, in which they could continue the reign of terror.
Epigenetics is the study of how your behavior and environment may influence your genes' function subtly. According to the definition of epigenetics, water impacts aquatic creatures contrary to the popular belief. DNA methylation is the most well-studied epigenetic processes in learning intergenerational consequences from environmental organism interaction. Epigenetic modifications might be caused by environmental variables, which essentially are most sort of likely linked to the general biological invasion process.
We can see that occurrence somewhat in terms of water contaminations such as oil and radioactive spills, the establishments of water patches, and eutrophication. Generally, other similar events occur often for the most part, but the marine environment is in jeopardy, which is quite significant. Both ecologically and physically, these events kind of have a considerable impact on marine life in a sort of tangible way. Because pollution is mainly a result of human development, one may specifically believe that the harmful epigenetic consequences are mainly one way in a big way. Invasive marine species reorganize the food chain, functioning as predators and producers. The epigenetics of aquatic invasive species may differ from that of native species of the same organism, which may explain why they can subtly survive in a new environment.
Anthropogenic activities are still at the foundation of the negative changes their ecosystem undergoes. Water is one of the most essential Earth's resources that is impacted by these activities. As a result, it is critical for us as humans to reduce the influence of our actions in our hydrosphere, as water is crucial to life on Earth. We should also make a significant difference by exploring alternative approaches to materials such as plastic, considering tons of plastic waste end up in water bodies all over the world. We should also be more conscious of the efforts we take to resist the spread of invasive species in our environment. This is done to preserve ecological balance and variety. It is time for us to take notice and take action to protect our planet's resources, which are essential for the existence of all species.